Have you ever, stood on a city sidewalk and watched a massive, seemingly indestructible skyscraper suddenly start to wobble?
Oh, yeah. It's a terrifying thought.
Right. I don't just mean a little sway in the wind. I mean watching the actual stress fractures, webbing their way up the glass.
And hearing the steel groan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you realize that the foundational pillars are failing under some invisible pressure. You're just standing there, completely captivated, wondering what on earth is happening to the load-bearing walls behind the curtain.
It's a mesmerizing thing to witness, honestly, because, the collapse of something that large is never an accident. It's a failure of mechanics.
Yeah.
From the outside, you only see the glass shattering, but you know that deep inside, a highly calibrated structural system has just, completely given way.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because that sensation, that feeling of watching a structural collapse in real time is exactly what we are exploring on today's Deep Dive.
We really are.
We are looking at the incredibly complex and, frankly, currently chaotic ecosystem of a true mega pop star, Ariana Grande.
Which is just a fascinating case study right now.
It really is. So our mission today is to sift through an absolute mountain of circulating reports, industry buzz, and public commentary to understand this massive collision.
Right.
We have personal controversies, rapidly shifting public perception, and sudden multi-million-dollar professional fallout. And it's all crashing into each other at the exact same moment.
And if you're listening to this, we aren't just here to gawk at the wreckage. I mean, we want to dig into the underlying mechanisms here.
Yeah, the how and the why.
Exactly. How does the massive machinery of global fame, the PR teams, the record labels, the theatrical producers, how do they react when the messy personal life of the star completely overshadows the art they're actively trying to sell?
Well, we have to start with the narrative that is absolutely dominating the public conversation right now, which is the alleged new romance.
Ah, yes. The rumor mill is running hot. It's so hot. The current circulating reports suggest that Ariana is having a secret affair with her director, a man named Chris. And the really wild part of this current buzz is the suggestion that her recent, highly publicized romance with a guy named Ricky was essentially just a PR distraction.
Wow.
Yeah, a total smokescreen.
Which is, a classic, albeit desperate Hollywood operational maneuver.
Right.
If you want to hide a fire that could burn down your reputation, you light a very bright, very visible flare somewhere else and just sort of hope the audience looks at that instead.
But the audience is getting too smart for the flare, because the specific behavioral details leaking out have everyone talking.
You really do.
According to the chatter, she hasn't just been involved with Chris behind the scenes. She has been actively liking his wife's social media posts.
Oh, man.
Posts that prominently feature the couple's 2 young daughters. And the reason this specific detail is setting the public commentary on fire is that people are drawing a direct, unavoidable parallel to her previous relationship. Yes, the internet is literally calling this new situation Ethan Slater 2.0.
Exactly.
The historical parallels are, objectively, staggering. Just for a bit of quick context, Ethan Slater was her previous co-star, and the timeline of that relationship was heavily, heavily scrutinized.
Oh, to say the least.
Right. The reports surrounding that era claim she went to dinner with Ethan and his then-wife, Dr. Lily J., in London. There's even a documented history of her liking Ethan's Happy First Mother's Day post, dedicated to Dr. Lily J., right before their divorce was announced and the new relationship went public.
It's like watching a studio forcefully push out a superhero movie reboot that absolutely nobody asked for.
Yeah.
And they didn't even bother to change the script.
Yeah, it's so copy-paste.
The characters have different names, but the plot points down to the hyper-specific, almost brazen detail of liking the wife's social media posts featuring the children are exactly the same. It's surreal.
It really is.
And the internet never forgets a pattern. People are even dragging up a historical anecdote from way back in 2016 involving her ex-fiancé, Big Sean, and his ex, the late Naya Rivera.
Oh, I saw this one going around.
Yeah, the story floating around is that Naya let herself into Big Sean's house right before their wedding was eventually called off, walked downstairs, and found Ariana just sitting cross-legged on the couch, listening to music.
So let's look at the psychological mechanism at play for the audience here, because that is why the backlash is so severe right now.
Please explain it to me.
What's fascinating here is that when a celebrity curates a public image, especially one historically rooted in sweetness, innocence, or female empowerment, The public enters into a silent contract of trust with that brand.
Like, you buy the album, you buy the persona.
Exactly. But when the star's actions display a highly visible repeating pattern that directly contradicts that curated image, it triggers a profound sense of parasocial betrayal.
Right, because they feel lied to.
Yeah. The audience feels actively manipulated. They stop viewing these events as isolated, messy mistakes of a young person in love, and they start seeing a calculated methodology.
A methodology. That is a brilliant way to frame it. But let me pause you there, because, it takes two to tango in these situations.
Sure.
If you're listening and thinking, why do these guys keep walking into this?
Yeah.
It's a very valid question. If this pattern is so visible, and the public scrutiny is practically guaranteed to blow up their personal lives and marriages, why do these men willingly step into the blast radius?
Well, the public analysis of the men involved has been absolutely brutal lately, and it answers that exact question.
What are people saying?
A lot of prominent commentators are categorizing these specific men as basically career dead-enders.
Ouch.
Yeah. The prevailing theory is that they are seeking massive ego validation and a high-speed shortcut to fame. They view proximity to a megastar not just as a romance, but as a career acquisition strategy.
So they see a relationship with her as essentially like an audition tape for their own future platforms.
Yeah. That is the circulating sentiment, yeah. The buzz suggests they're dreaming of future reality TV stints, appearances on massive platforms like the Joe Rogan podcast, or, lucrative influencer sponsorships once the dust settles.
Just cashing in on the infamy.
Exactly. It's a calculated risk for proximity to immense cultural power. I mean, if we look at the specific profile of Chris that's floating around, someone who allegedly knew him in high school publicly described him as a very creative talent, but also as a, quote, prick with a Napoleon complex.
The Napoleon complex. That tells you everything you need to know about the ego involved right there.
It suggests a deep-seated need to prove one's magnitude to the world. And interestingly, Chris's own public quotes about working with Ariana paint a picture of intense, almost suffocating enmeshment.
Ooh, what did he say?
He called her his creative soulmate, describing their dynamic as a yin and yang where, crucially, there are no bad ideas.
Bad idea. I want to pin that phrase because we are going to come back to it when we talk about her new album. But before we do, there are some much darker public theories swirling around the psychology of these men. I even saw this incredibly bizarre public parallel being drawn between the obsessive, frantic male attraction to Ariana Grande and the chaotic attraction men have shown toward Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
Oh, wow. That is a very heavy, provocative comparison.
I know, right?
But if we unpack the underlying psychology of that public theory, it actually makes a lot of sense. The parallel isn't about their specific real-life situations.
No, of course not.
It's about the type of man drawn to that specific kind of infamy. It is a toxic codependency. These men are drawn to a highly publicized, chaotic, slightly taboo dynamic where they feel like they are the chosen one.
Like they're the only one who really gets her?
Yes. They feel like they are the only person who truly understands the misunderstood star. They mistake the intensity of the public scandal and the chaotic enmeshment for a profound, exclusive connection. They get to play the savior and the insider all at once.
But let me push back on this a little bit, actually. Are we letting the pop star completely off the hook here by just blaming these guys for being opportunistic fame seekers with savior complexes?
That's a fair point.
Right. Isn't there a massive power dynamic that she completely controls in these situations? Like, she is the sun. They are just satellites getting pulled into her gravity.
You are absolutely right to raise that, and it's a vital counterpoint. It is a mutually beneficial transaction, even if it operates on a deeply unhealthy level.
What?
Yes, a relationship with someone of her astronomical status is the ultimate status elevation for these men, but consider what she gets in return.
What does she get?
She gets total, unquestioning devotion. She gets a partner who is entirely reliant on her cultural and financial power, which likely offers her an immense sense of control in a life that is otherwise scrutinized by millions.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
And as Chris's quote perfectly highlighted earlier, she gets a partner who offers constant artistic validation, a partner who tells her she has, quote, no bad ideas.
Which brings us perfectly to the actual product she's putting out right now. Because when an artist operates in an echo chamber of no bad ideas and their personal life is this messy, that chaos inevitably bleeds into their art.
It always does.
So how is the public actually receiving her day job? The music.
Well, we are witnessing a dramatic, jarring pivot in her sound. We have to contrast her previous album, Eternal Sunshine, with the brand new album, Petal.
Yeah, Eternal Sunshine was described everywhere as her glossy, pristine Glinda Theater Kid album. It dropped right during the Wicked press tour, and it was just so heavily controlled.
Very calculated.
Yeah, her vocals were flawless, the enunciation was perfect. It felt like a very protected, meticulously crafted piece of art designed to maintain that sweet public trust you mentioned earlier.
And Petal is being perceived as the absolute antithesis of that control.
Completely.
It is being described across the board as moodier, darker, and much more mid-tempo. But the critical reception hasn't just been mixed, it has been incredibly polarizing.
Polarizing feels like a polite word for what I'm reading, honestly. Some commentators are straight up calling it a flop, or worse, painfully boring.
The reviews are rough.
And the critiques aren't just vague complaints either. They're incredibly specific, tearing into the actual mechanics of the production.
Like what?
People are pointing out the, quote, grating, plasticky drum programming on the track, Kiss Me. Or the glitchy bubble pop synth on I Hate That I Made You Love Me.
Yeah.
Which, ironically, a lot of industry buzz is noting is the only real standout track on the whole record.
The lyrical analysis has been just as sharp, if not sharper, because lyrics are where the audience looks for the artist's defense. There's a specific lyric that's circulating heavily right now. I keep my heels tall, my ego's small, but I'm still grande.
Oof. Yeah, and the internet is immediately comparing that very negatively to Sabrina Carpenter's recent work.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think we need to explain why Sabrina's lyrics are working right now while Ariana's are failing, because it's all about the mechanics of authenticity.
It really is.
Sabrina is mastering that self-aware, corny, wink-at-the-audience lyricism. She actively plays the villain, claims the joke, and the audience loves her for it.
But when Ariana tries it...
Exactly. When Ariana tries it on Petal, critics are saying it just doesn't land. Instead of sounding self-aware, they are accusing the album of suffering from a massive, unearned victim mentality. She is trying to hold on to the white hat where the audience watches her do villainous things.
Exactly. And that disconnect is heavily reflected in the scores. Some very prominent critical platforms have given Petal a very middling 6.5 rating.
Which is low for her.
Very low. But this raises the defining question of modern celebrity. Is Petal actually a mathematically bad album? Or is this highly negative 6.5 reception 100% a reaction to her current standing as a controversial public figure?
Here's where it gets really interesting. They aren't grading the melody, they're grading her morals.
That is the perfect way to phrase it. In today's landscape, modern pop music simply cannot be separated from the parasocial relationship. We don't just consume the audio tracks anymore, we consume the persona.
Yeah, you buy the whole package.
Yeah. If the audience is angry at the person, if they feel manipulated by the Ethan Slater parallels or the perceived home-wrecking narratives, they will actively, aggressively reject the product. The 6.5 rating might cite plastic drums, but it is fundamentally a referendum on her plummeting cultural capital.
Wow.
When the public decides you are the villain of the cultural moment, they will simply not allow you to have a universally acclaimed album.
But if you're listening and thinking this is just about some bad reviews on a music blog, think again.
Oh, it goes much deeper.
Because when the public decides they don't want to buy the persona anymore, the investors bankrolling that persona start to panic. This audience rejection is causing real-world, millions of dollars on the line structural damage.
It really is.
Which brings us to the sudden, spectacular collapse on the West End.
Yes, the sudden withdrawal from the highly anticipated theatrical project Sunday in the Park with George.
Let me set the stakes for this, because they are massive. This was supposed to be an incredibly expensive, marquee stage production slated for summer 2027.
Right, a huge deal.
And the way it fell apart behind the scenes is wild. The circulating reports say the production team found out she was dropping out less than an hour before the general public did.
Less than an hour.
Less than an hour. The producers were left completely scrambling. They didn't have a backup megastar like Sabrina Carpenter waiting in the wings to save the box office.
Yeah.
And they instantly lost out on all the major magazine covers and promotional deals that were already locked in.
This is where the official PR narrative and the actual industry mechanisms severely fracture.
How so?
Her team's official line claims she dropped out due to the intense public scrutiny she's been facing. But the real behind-the-scenes buzz suggests something entirely operational.
Right.
The heavy rumor is that she was actually fired or forced out because she couldn't get medical approval to meet the production's strict insurance requirements.
Let's really look at the timeline here, because it highlights the absurdity of that official PR excuse.
Yeah.
This play does not open until the summer of 2027. That is years away. In pop culture time, that's a different century. Scrutiny changes by the week. Why on earth would you drop out now over current internet backlash?
You wouldn't. If we connect this to the bigger picture and look at the actual logistics of theatrical insurance, the public scrutiny excuse completely falls apart.
Okay, tell me how that works.
West End productions built around a singular megastar are massive financial liabilities. They require ironclad theatrical insurance to even begin building the sets. Think of theatrical underwriters like the pit bosses in a Vegas casino calculating the odds of a massive loss. If the star doesn't show up, the casino goes bankrupt.
So these actuaries are basically betting millions of dollars on the star's mental and physical stability.
Precisely. Megastars are rarely, if ever, allowed to just walk away from these ironclad contracts because people are being mean to them online. There are catastrophic breach of contract penalties for that.
So what's the actual out?
The only universally accepted get-out-of-jail-free card in a theatrical contract is a legitimate medical or insurability crisis. If a doctor will not sign off on your physical or mental stamina to endure an 8-show week, the insurance company will refuse to underwrite the production.
Oh, wow.
And if the underwriters walk, the producers have absolutely no choice but to let you go.
Wow. So putting out a press release saying, I'm stepping away from my mental health due to public scrutiny sounds a lot more palatable than admitting the insurance company ran the numbers and deemed my personal life too high risk to employ.
Exactly.
And this is not an isolated incident. Concurrently, we have reports of her abruptly exiting Ryan Murphy's American Horror Story Season 13.
Right. Now, Ryan Murphy is famously loyal and protective of his stars. His camp claims this exit was purely a scheduling conflict with her upcoming music tour, and he even publicly offered to push her involvement to a future season.
Which is the most polite, textbook Hollywood cover imaginable.
Very polite.
Especially when you remember the context, right?
Yeah.
Like, she previously worked with Ryan Murphy on Scream Queens, where she was famously killed off after maybe 5 minutes of actual screen time.
Right, I remember that.
It's a recurring pattern of hyping her involvement in an acting project to generate buzz and then severely minimizing the actual delivery.
It all speaks to a fundamental instability in the brand right now. And when a star's life becomes this volatile, it creates a bizarre gravitational pull.
It really does.
The chaos doesn't just stay contained to her directors or her producers. It starts dragging in peripheral figures, family members, and totally unrelated reality TV contestants.
Oh my gosh, the Big Brother feud. If you want to understand the sheer absurdity of the orbit of fame, this story is the perfect encapsulation.
It's so strange.
So currently, there is a totally one-sided feud happening on the reality show Big Brother. It involves Ariana's brother, Frankie Grande, and a contestant currently locked inside the Big Brother house named Camus Kirk, who is an MMA fighter.
We really need to emphasize how isolated Camus is in this scenario.
Right. Imagine you are Camus. You are locked inside a house, completely cut off from the outside world. You have no phones, no internet, no idea what the public is saying about you.
Zero context.
And Camus jokingly looks at the live feed cameras and says, quote, Frankie Grande, tell your sister to hit me up.
Which is just a standard, boastful, completely throwaway reality TV soundbite from a guy trying to look cool.
Exactly. But on the outside, Frankie Grande sees this clip and he goes absolutely thermonuclear.
He really did.
He takes to Twitter, posts a photo of himself posing aggressively at a concert, and responds, not an effing chance, Camus, you can eat my ass.
Yeah.
Just furious, disproportionate rage.
But the context of Frankie's anger reveals that this wasn't just about protecting his sister's honor. Camus had previously made some highly controversial anti-drag comments on the live feeds.
Oh, right.
He had told other house guests who were wearing women's pajamas to, quote, miss me with that drag stuff because he had an MMA fighter image to uphold. Frankie had already been actively campaigning to his massive following for Camus' eviction over those specific comments.
It is hilarious to me. Like, Camus is sitting inside this heavily monitored reality TV bubble, completely oblivious to the fact that his one throwaway comment just sparked an actual online war with a pop star's brother. He has no idea he is the villain of Frankie Grande's week.
It is funny, but it also illustrates a deeply vital point about the economy of fame. Ariana Grande doesn't even need to be physically present in a situation to be the center of the story.
Totally.
The mere idea of her is used as currency. Camus, the clout chaser, uses the idea of her to try and elevate his own alpha male status on camera. And on the flip side, her family fiercely guards the gates to that currency.
Yeah, Frankie's reaction makes more sense when you view it like that.
Exactly. Frankie's aggressive response is about protecting the brand, protecting the perimeter of the empire, even from a reality show contestant who poses absolutely zero real threat.
All connected. The director's looking for a fast track to Joe Rogan, the stage producers panicking over insurance actuaries, the reality stars dropping names to look cool. They're all just caught in the gravitational pull of this one person's highly volatile public narrative.
They are all symptoms of a pop culture machine that is currently running at a completely unsustainable speed.
Yeah.
When we zoom out and look at all these threads together, the repeating, mathematically similar personal relationship rumors with Ethan Slater 2.0, the intense critical backlash to a highly anticipated album, massive million-dollar contractual dropout shrouded in insurance rumors, and even proxy wars on reality TV, it paints a vivid picture of an empire under immense critical structural stress.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now?
It's a good question.
The next time you scroll past a headline today, or when you queue up a new album on your phone, I want you to genuinely ask yourself, how much of your opinion is actually based on the art you're hearing? And how much of your judgment is being quietly dictated by the messy, deeply human drama happening behind the scenes?
It is becoming increasingly impossible to separate the two. The modern celebrity machinery demands the drama just as much, if not more, than it demands the music. The persona is the product.
Which leaves us with one final lingering thought for you to mull over as we wrap up. If a star's public persona becomes so incredibly toxic that it actively sinks their art and potentially renders them completely uninsurable for professional projects, is it ever possible to successfully hit the reset button?
That's the million-dollar question.
Can a mega star ever just go back to being a musician? Or does the modern internet age demand that the controversy permanently becomes the main act? Just something to think about the next time you see a skyscraper start to wobble.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
Catch you next time.